Well, hello YouTube. Here we are with another video in the cargo trailer to camper conversion video series. Well, of course, as you've seen, we do have this here cargo trailer. Kind of an interesting trailer. Will be, again, an interesting build. One of the little things that I need to fix pretty quick about this here trailer is the fact it does not have a step to get into it. Now, of course, most of the time you can just step right into it. It's not overly too tall. However, it is about 18 inches off the ground, the top of the door sill there, and the bottom of the door is about 14. So, of course, I got to remedy that by getting a step. Now, of course, they do make folding steps for RVs that tuck up nice. However, those are very expensive. And being this is an all aluminum trailer, you can't or shouldn't put a steel step onto an aluminum frame without some kind of barrier in between. And of course, being it's aluminum, it makes it even that much more expensive to boot. So of course, I will throw a photo here of the kind of step that I would love to have. It's just not in the budget right at this moment. Me being me, in my kind of figuring out things nature, I'm going to build my own wooden doorstep. Of course, it's going to be a touch on the heavier side. However, it'll be solid and it'll last, well, quite a few years. So of course, let's get all set up here with the wood we are going to use and, well, get at her. So of course, as you see there, we have the first piece built, and it is still a touch too low for my liking. Now, keep in mind there is going to be 2x6s or 2x4s or whatever, which will bring it up 1 3/4 inches on the top of that thing. However, it is still probably a good 3 or so inches lower than what I would like it to be. So of course, the next alternative is either to build risers under it, like basically little feet or blockings, and that'll bring it up, and then you just have a step down and then a larger step down to the ground. Or the other alternative is to build another box just like it, except slightly longer on the front. So effectively you're creating a two-step kind of system. Now it's not going to be the perfect, tread and riser measurements like a manufactured one should be. However, it'll be a lot better than straining to get in or out of the camper. You don't need to be falling, and you gotta watch that first step first thing in the morning, because, well, one misstep can ruin your whole day. So I'm going to dig around and see what I can find for more lumber, and let's continue on. Okay guys, so here we go. Well, after some measuring and figuring out, I was going to use 2x4s for the bottom step of the step. However, I decided to upgrade it to 2x6s to give it that extra little bit of rise. Depends on the ground of the campsite you pull into and other circumstances. The 2x4s might end up being too low. So I upgraded it to 2x6s, which then is not a full true 2x6. However, it is obviously taller than a 2x4. Then to attach the 2x6 to the original box, I'm using, well, kind of a scrap piece of plywood as a mending plate and mending both halves together. I'll repeat the same process for the other side, and as well as along the back and such. We'll get the same type of treatment as well. And of course, before I finalize the build, I'll put more fasteners in where needed, as well as give it a good old test to make sure that it's good and strong. So basically what I do is I do my handy dandy tried and true method of measuring. Put a block in there just like I did with the other side, put it on up and run the screws on in. pretty much just use 2 screws for now. Like I said, I'll go back through and put more in if needed. If you really wanted to do overkill, you could use construction adhesive and join the boards together first before you put the screws in. However, I don't know if this here step is going to be a permanent, well, fixture, or if it's something just for the first couple of seasons. However, it needs to be strong enough and stout enough to last for a season or 2 until such a time as it gets replaced. Basically like that. Nothing really fancy. Basic construction. A little bit on the crude side, but hey, in some situations, well, crude works just the same as, well, spending 16 hours engineering something that may or may not be a temporary fix. So of course, now I've got to measure between the back 2 points there and to cut the board that goes between there. I might end up putting a brace on the bottom side just to keep it from, you know, moving. There will be a brace, another board along the front edge here. So while we're cutting the back edge, we'll cut the front edge and it'll all work out. Okay, so using that board as a reference point, you see we have a bit of a step down to the step, then a landing area, if you want to say, then another step down, which will be another board there, and then to the ground. In the perfect world, you know, a guy could have had the RV step installed on this here trailer, and then he wouldn't have to be building this type of contraption right now. Yes, it is probably going to be built a little bit solid, as in heavy. However, at the same time, it will be durable and sturdy. You won't have to worry about this breaking or coming on apart, especially when you go to step on it. Yeah, you know, I could have chose other materials. You know, maybe built it out of plywood, or built it out of like fence boards, or something a little different, but at the same time, building or using what I have on hand for material, and keeping the cost down and building it once and building it strong. I will probably go through with a jigsaw and make some cuts in certain areas just to lighten things up a little bit. But for right now, it's taking the shape that I want it to, and it'll all be well. Okay guys, so here we go. Well, got the step pretty much assembled. It's rough, but at the same time, it's more meant to serve a purpose than to be pretty. It's going to be weathered, it's going to be rotten in a few years. It's not going to be something that's going to be stained or put up on a mantle. So, you know, get her built, get her done, and get her in use. So let's run in the final screws here. Well, there we go. She's not pretty. However, it takes up more function than it does form. And really, that's all that matters. So let's go drop her in place and, well, see if she collapses when we step on her. Okay, so let's give her a try, see what happens. Well, there you go. It's almost perfect. The ground's a little bit uneven. It kind of slants away from the trailer. But at the same time, the step itself is stout enough to take up any unevenness in the ground itself. Okay guys, so there we go. As you've seen, the steps are pretty stout. They fit inside the door. I got to do some sanding and stuff on them in the future. I'm not 100% sure how finished I want to make these here steps, but right now I believe it is usable just the way they are, and will be good enough for, well, the next few months, or maybe even a season or two. But pretty much, guys, I couldn't swing in the budget right now to buy a set of those fancy RV folding aluminum steps, so this is kind of what we got to work with for the next few seasons. I guess we could call it project complete for now. Again, in the future, we can do another check back in. If the steps survive the first season or so, then, well, maybe we'll do another revisit on them and, you know, sand them on down, paint them on up, and make them pretty. And as always, thanks for watching Maxwell's World. Comment, subscribe, and enjoy.